shut up.
Okay, I don't know how much you guys heard of the Hello, I'm Sultan, but hello, this is Exernian, and welcome to our very first week of the Elemental Gold pregame show. So it's still called the Waveline, and yeah, I mean, it's a exciting season. We're just getting in, and with me today I have Zell, Clutch, and Sultan. So they're gonna go and introduce themselves.
I'll go first. I'm Zell, also known as Daddy to some, but mostly Zell.
Hello, I'm Clutch. I am the league owner and also the caster for Silver.
All right. Well, I'm Sultan. I'm the admin for the Gold League, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, if you guys were here on Friday evening, we also had Sultan join the call and then
Oh
proceed
no.
to ignore us. So this time we were like, okay, Sultan, you're not allowed to ignore us this time. So
Okay,
here
yeah.
he is on the analyst desk with us as we're just going to get right into it. So obviously I'm going to go and break down the structure of the league first. So we have 8 teams overall, and you can see those teams just on the right there. So that's Hyperion Origin, Big Duck Entourage, Hawkthorn Esports, Flippa United, Revolution Esports, Monkeys Rising, Abyssal Sapphire, and VBU Krypton. So throughout the whole league, we have 7 weeks of a regular season in a single round robin format. They're all going to be best of 3. So, unlike the EDL season, so EDL does have 2 divisions. So, meanwhile, Gold, we have less teams, so everyone just kind of plays everyone. Much shorter format. And then playoffs gets a bit complicated. We have 5 weeks of playoffs. It's going to be a double elimination bracket, and you guys will see what that looks like in just a second here. So this is the same bracket that we had before, and so for playoffs we have 6 teams that make it from the 8, and so it's pretty much explained here. We have the first round of the winners bracket, so that's on July 5th. So that's match 1 and match 2. So those are the 2 matches between the first and 4th seeds, and then the second and the 3rd seeds, and then the losers of those matches start into the losers bracket. And then it gets pretty self-explanatory there. So if you guys have any questions, go head into staff help, and then we can try and explain it there. But we all know why we're here. We want to know some of the hot takes, so we're gonna get right into those. So for the first game that we're going to look at, it is Hyperion Gaming versus VBU Krypton. And we're going to start on the right side. We have Zell, who guessed 2-1 for VBU, and Clutch, who guessed 2-0 for VBU. So, Zell, you said 2-1 VBU. What was your reasoning behind
The reasoning behind this was because I know VBU. I know Clutch runs a tight ship over there. All right, the tidiest of ships. And also partake. I don't know who's on Hyperion till today. So that's my hot take. I give Hyperion a game though because I do know Tilla is or I thought he was the coach, but I heard Kuda is actually the coach. And if I knew that, I would probably give it to Hyperion. Kuda's kind of like big brained when it comes to drafting.
Okay, so you're saying
But
that
other
would
than
sway it into VBU's favor.
or Hyperion's favor, since Kuda will be coaching Hyperion.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But I'm
So
gonna stand by my 2-1.
okay, so then why do you think that VBU would drop a game to Hyperion then?
Oh, Kuda. Draft diff.
Oh, it's draft diff. Okay.
Draft diff, yeah.
All right. So if these teams are listening, it's better be watching your guys' drafts. We're gonna look through them and then
Yeah.
we'll know what happens. So
Yeah,
Clutch, you
and then-
said sorry, Zell. What?
Oh no, go ahead.
I was just gonna ask Clutch what his was on the 2-0 for his own org.
Yeah. So, coming into this, Hyperion to me is like a 4th or 5th place team. I think they're actually really solid on paper. Players like the Rune Mage, who's played in ZGG for a while. He played with Illumination a while back. Hades, Crown, Dracana, Attila. These are all players who have been around the gold scene for a very long time. So I think they have a very stable roster and definitely can crack playoffs with this roster. But when you look at VBU Krypton, it's kind of the rise of the new guard. You have players that are pretty new to the gold scene, but are already like high gold and have proven to themselves or proven to the people that they are very good players. So Akbalo, very strong top laner. We saw him in IBS. Now he's in gold and has been doing an amazing job in gold. Allfire also a really strong jungler. But you still have stable veterans on the side of VBU. You have Socks and Thighs, who's been around all very long time. As long as Dracana in the gold scene. So that's going to be a matchup to watch. Islamic Samurai will be filling in. Very good player. Also play on Monster Mash. So he's going to be playing down, and he had very good success on Monster Mash. So he should play very well. And obviously, Toxin, their plat player, probably one of the best ADCs in the league. Going up against Attila, in my opinion, that's a bit of a mismatch. I think Toxin should be able to beat Attila. And just looking at these rosters, obviously it's week 1, right? And, you can't really tell much like what the team's going to be about. I think VBU Krypton just has a stronger paper on roster and should be able to take the series 2-0.
I agree with you, Clutch. And sorry, Wazelle, what were you gonna add?
Honestly, I forgot. That was I like Clutch's take there. I forgot Toxin was actually the ADC for VBU. So that's kind of bug.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Clutch on basically everything he said. There are a few mismatches. I feel like Toxin is their plot 4 player, meanwhile Attila, like just looking at rank, he is 1. And I'm not saying he's gonna get like smacked or anything, but then I feel that VBU is probably looking to play more towards their bot side of the map, and then you're focusing all of your resources into like a player that's, probably going to outclass the other. And then you're leaving the Rune Mage in the top lane for Hyperion, and I took a gander at their op.gg, and I'm seeing like they play a lot of these carries and a lot of these stronger picks, right? So if I guess it really does depend, and my guess kind of swayed towards Hyperion because I felt that like VBU, I feel that they're going to play towards their bot side, and then if left unchecked, I feel that the jungle and top side, or even like their mid laner for Hyperion, they could start pulling these resources and start finding gaps in the strategy that VB is probably going to. But I mean, again, it's week 1. It could be anyone's game. I do think it's going to be a 2-0 for either side, but that is my take. So last but not least, we do have Sultan.
Okay. My take is kind of based on I will say this, it's a Doki take, let's say.
A Doki take.
Oh.
It comes from the chips. On Hyperion's side, they have the most valuable chip that you can have. Attila has the ZGG gold chip for himself. On the other side, Akblo has the silver. Islamic Samurai has won ZGG plat. Toxin has been what was it? Invictus. But none of those leagues, even combined, can make up for one ZGG gold league. So Attila, I believe in himself. I'm putting all my faith in him and Dracana that they're gonna take down VBU Krypton in a 2-1 scoreline. And I believe in them, and I hope they're not gonna let me down.
Ooh, all right, Hyperion, if you're listening, Sultan, he's like the Matt Pizza to the Chicago Dragons. He's got your back, and he's supporting you. So, with that, then, with all of those takes, what do you guys think will be the critical lane, the critical matchup? Let's start with Zell.
Probably the bot lane for sure. Attila and Toxin, specifically ADCs. That's gonna be the lane to watch for sure. Those two have very similar play styles, but one may be a little bit more let's say not better per se, but just more comfortable playing that play style. And I just think they're really strong. They're both really strong laners, and both have very good strengths to them, but they also both have weaknesses.
Right.
But I think it'll come down to those two players to see if they can actually pull the win up top for their teams.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think more so even it's also the supports. Like Islamic Samurai. He's a guy I've played against myself, and I've never beaten him actually in a competitive scenario. Even though I've only gone against him like I think in like one best of 3, like over almost a year ago. So like just speaking from experience, like Islamic Samurai, I do think he is definitely like one of the supports up there in the league. Doesn't even matter which team he's on. Like he just knows how to command a team, playing towards their win conditions and playing for the right objectives and stuff like that. So I feel that Islamic Samurai is going to be one of the biggest reasons if VBU Krypton is going to succeed this season. But again, that's my take. I also didn't vote for VBU to win, so I don't know. That is my take on it at least. So, Clutch, what about you?
Um, so my matchup to watch is going to be two. For me, it's the solo lane. You got the Rune Mage up against Akbalo. You've got the Old Guard. Rune Mage, absolutely insane player. I played on a team with this guy. He is extremely gifted mechanically, and he's going to be going up against Akbalo, who also is a very good mechanical player. So top lane, there's going to be some solo bolos. Some single dingles are going to go down. These people are not going to wait, just farm it out. No, they're going to be going at each other's throats. And I can't wait to see that. I want to see who comes out on top because, like I said, it's the old guard versus the new guard in the top lane. It's going to be a banger matchup to watch. And then in the mid lane, Dracana versus Socks and Thighs. This has been a matchup for so long. We've seen it so many times. They're both staple mid laners in gold leagues. And I mean, it's just a hype matchup. It's the legacy matchup right there. And I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be super close in both of these lanes, in top and mid. And I'm just excited to see this matchup for sure come to fruition. Dracana versus Fox and Thighs. I think it's really hype.
Yeah, I mean, that is another good matchup to watch. It is like I don't know how to explain it. I just think it's like a total uphill battle for either one. And it could go either way, but it's like a teeter-totter kind of. It's like up one way, up down the other, and then you switch back and forth. So I agree with you, Clutch. It is going to be an interesting match to watch. Last but not least, we have Sultan.
In my opinion, although like the more interesting matchups are like probably the bot lane and the soul lanes, but I think it's gonna come down to how like these mid lanes and the jungles, how good they can like rotate around the map. Because like when you look at the bot lane, Toxin and Samurai, in my opinion, has the better side of the matchup when it comes to the skill level of the players. But then they're a jungle gank, a mid roam, or like both at the same time, a dive can just like change the tone of that matchup really fast. And Attila can like use those leads pretty effectively, in my opinion. Same for Toxin and Samurai. If they get a lead, they can run the enemy bot lane down. I think it's gonna come down to, especially with Socks and Ties and Dracana's playstyles, are like they're more towards play the lane and then help your side laners type of mid laners. So if they can get ahead, like it's gonna come down to who can get their side lanes ahead faster and probably harder.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, overall, it's going to be an interesting matchup to watch. Unfortunately, match of the week. So, I'll keep my eyes on the matches. But we'll move on to the next game. So we have Hawk Thorn Esports versus Monkeys Rising. So it's a little one-sided, if you
No.
guys can see.
Mel, aren't you on Monkeys Rising?
Hot take, hot take, hot take.
Okay, we're going to
take.
start with a really, really hot take by Zell, who is on Monkeys Rising.
All right. So Monkeys Rising consists of four of the not former, I guess, reigning champions of EDL Season 1. Has me, Chinese Spy, Burners, and Basing the second. This is our first time in a gold league, but also in a gold environment. And it's scary as like a silver player moving up the ladder and dipping your toes into like higher gameplay, or some would argue higher gameplay, but and that's pretty much the take here. Is just like it's our first time in a gold environment, First time practically just facing any of these players really, and Hawthorne, they're just guys are really good. I think we could all agree here. Hawthorne are on a different level. So this is gonna be a tough matchup week 1 for us. I don't think it'll be a complete stomp. I think we have some things up our sleeves to show. Unfortunately, this game will not be played today though. We actually did have to reschedule.
Yep.
But
Mhm.
when that reschedule does happen, I don't think it changes the outcome. I think they still win because this is our first game ever in a Go League in the Go environment. But I'm excited for it though.
So then, question for you, Zell. What do you think would be the biggest, biggest factor in deciding how these games will go? Like, do you think it's going to be just you guys are going to get out macroed or just outskilled in all of the
Oh, I
ways?
think it's out macroed for sure. I think
Mhm.
our skill level is up to par with them. Uh, but macro wise, these guys, a lot of Gold players have been playing in Gold for a while, right? And they know the rundown of the map and what to do. And I think that's also one of our struggles when we were in IBS leagues. It was like closing out games and knowing exactly what to do in certain scenarios and the state of the game. And so that's something we'll have to like work on and
True,
grind
true.
as we play and play in this league.
I mean, you guys are named Monkeys Rising, so
Yeah.
it's like one of those like charts that upward trend. You might be at the bottom right now, but this is
We rising though. Hey, once you hit the bottom, the only
it's
way to
the
go is
first
top.
stepping stone, exactly. Okay,
Mhm.
so I mean, on a like as a total joke, when I was on like Otter Talk and stuff, I would always vote against my team, and then when I was asked why, I would just say subbed it.
Oh no.
Oh, I don't know.
Yep, yep.
No comment.
No comment. Okay, okay then. Clutch, you also said 2-0 for Hawthorne Esports.
Yep.
Like to give us some insight on.
Yeah, so I mean, I'll keep it short since, obviously all of us said 2-0. We probably have sort of the same reasoning. Hawthorne Esports top 3 team. I have them ranked at number 1. They're number 1 in excellency right now. They have a very solid roster from top to bottom. And they're going up against Monkeys Rising, who obviously the players are kind of straight out of, EDL, most of them. Um, and the transition, it's not the prettiest. And if they were going up against maybe Big Duck Entourage or Abyssal like week 1, I'd be like, all right, well, I think this team has a chance. But they're literally going up against one of the best teams in the league that is one of the favorites to win. Now, I'm not saying Monkeys in Training are bad, or Monkeys in Training, Monkeys Rising are bad. I actually have them ranked 6th. I think they can sneak into the playoffs as that last seed. But it's kind of a David versus Goliath right now, and I mean, it's gonna be really hard for Monkeys Rising to win, and I just think Hawthorne Esports is just a better team overall.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of obvious in the obviously from our predictions, but last but not least, Sultan, you also guessed 2-0 for Hawthorne at any point. Sultan is once
All
again
right.
dead.
Yeah,
Well,
and
okay,
Sultan's hiding.
okay, okay,
Okay.
okay.
Too.
I just realized my headset died, so I had to put it into like charge. Um, so I think it's going to be a 2-0, but I'm expecting more close games rather than like absolute stomps because Monkey's Rising when they were playing, they're playing like they were picking these Kale picks and like Victor, which in the end doesn't matter almost your skill level at 35-40 minutes if you can stall that long. It's not going to matter if your top laner is playing is a silver kill or a plat kill. You're still going to probably have a good chance of winning the game. And if they can draft good and even hold on to their like plans, maybe they might even pull up a upset win against Hawktorn. But in the end, they are league leading another league as the first seed. They have a really solid roster. So against the silver team, basically, just play in their first season in the Gold League. It's going to be a hard one, but I don't think. I think if there's going to be a silver team that would have like upset Hawkthorn, it would be Monkeys Rising with this roster. So like I have some faith in Monkeys to like at least put up a good fight against Hawkthorn.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's like coming into this season, Hawkthorn is like I said, Hawkthorn is leading. They have this experience that Monkeys Rising doesn't, right? And with a team that's already kind of learned the ropes and learned, what works and what doesn't work for them, a team like Monkeys Rising that is like, on the rise, like I don't know how to exactly put it other than that, just they need some time. They need some time to work out the kinks, find which pieces fit where. And even like that transition is going to be difficult for Monkeys Rising. So I mean, yeah, I do think like what Zell said too, it's probably gonna be like an out macro, or does anyone else think that it's going to be something other than macro?
Mm. Well, they're maybe their platinum jungle just Smurfs, but other than that, should be
He doesn't even have to
probably
smurf,
macro.
he just plays the game.
Yeah,
Y-
yeah, I
Yeah,
guess it's
yeah,
that play.
yeah.
Okay, so we will move on to the next game then. So this game is Flippa United versus Revolution Esports Gold. I had to include the screenshot of Sultan telling me to write it as a 3-0 for a best of 3 series. So I made sure I didn't look again. So we're gonna start with that really hot take, Sultan.
um, so this is it's I don't want to be disrespectful to Revolution, but they almost have a really they have like some parts of their ZGG team that playing in here. I think Unknown Angel and Oddworks were playing on it. They have Sharp Potter, and that's like a really good addition to their roster. But when you look at Philippa, you have Wonderworld, which maybe his solo queue rank doesn't show, but this guy had like the top stats in BOL Gold when like last split when there was like the people were like saying 3-0 season and this guy was like sitting on top of the stat sheet alone. And then they have Ramsey as a support, which was a really good jungler and he's been playing support. They have Adishon, which is I think he's been playing really good in a few leagues. He played in LHG. I think he's playing in BLL right now. I don't know about like I've heard Ish and OH minus like Mike, but I've never actually seen them play. But just seeing Adishon, Ramsey, and Wonderbolt and like thinking about how good of a players they are, this 3-0 there means that even if this was a best of 5, they wouldn't even drop a single game. So I think it would be good to like just give Flippa United the recognition that they need with that roster. And their sub is Anderson Cooper, which is like what top 2 jungler right now in BL Gold. So even the subs are like really solid for that team.
I do agree with you. There are a lot of notable names. I have seen Anderson Cooper play. I've seen Ramsey play, though he was jungle, and Adishon. I have seen well, and I do think all of those players. But we'll get to my take in a second here. But we'll go to Clutch. You also said 2-0 for United.
Yep. Um, so if it wasn't for Hawkthorn being first in another league, I would have put Flippa United first. This team is absolutely stacked. You look at their team. Um, obviously Kay, who's Wonderworld, Adishon, Remzi. Like this team is stacked to the brim with talent. They are absolutely insane, and they're going up against Rev, which I think Rev is a solid team, top 4. I think they could maybe crack top 3. Because Rev with Kurt in the mid lane, Unknown Angel, he's shown that he's a very solid mid laner. Coming up from IBS last season and being able to perform at the gold level, and that was his rookie season in gold. Now it's his second season. He's got that experience. He's going to be very solid. And obviously, Aardvarks and Sharp Otter, the veteran player on the team, looking to lead this team to success. But Flippa United's just so goddamn stacked. I mean, like Remzi is he did role swap from the jungle, but I still think he's a very solid support. Adishon, maybe one of the best ADCs in this league, up there with Toxin for sure. Those are the top two, in my opinion. K, Wonderworld, the mid laner. This guy was, when I was on Astro, he was putting up better stats than me, and I'm Plat 2 now. So just keep that in mind. This guy is insanely good. He's very good on control mages, can farm very well, take over team fights. He's an extremely good player. Mike in the jungle, very solid jungler, has played in LHG. I remember playing against him, I believe, when I played him in the playoffs for Blue Lions, but I think he was a support at that point. So, and then Ish in the top lane, super stable top laner, does what he needs to do. So Flippa United to me are just stacked. I seriously don't think there are many teams in the league that can compete with them. I think the only two teams are Hawkthorn and BBU that can compete with them. And not saying Rev's bad. I think they're a very, very solid team. And Rev could potentially take a game off of Flippa United, but I just think that the skill disparity for Flippa United is just way too much for Revolution Esports Gold to handle. And I think Flippa United are going to take the 2-0.
Okay. That's a hot take. I like it. And Zell, you and I had the same prediction. You said 2-0 for Rev. So why is that?
So being relatively new to the gold scene, I haven't seen a lot of the Burgerflip players personally outside of Remzi and K. And Remzi has been in the jungle for a while, right? But I've seen Aardvarks, I've seen Unknown Angel, and a Sharp Arter, and especially Sharp Arter. These guys, for me, were the reason why I chose Rev over BFE specifically, because I've seen more of these guys for me personally. So it's hard to give the other team the win when you don't know much about them. But I just think Aardvarks and Unknown Angel for Rev are going to be the cornerstone for this team. I think these guys are great players, great mechanically skilled players, and I just that's pretty much it. Really, it's just not knowing much about the gold scene and not knowing much about the BFE players, other than the K and Remzi.
Mhm.
That's the reason why I chose the 2-0 for Rev.
Yeah, I mean, I do think this series is going to be really volatile. Like, I do think that either team will just take a 2-0, or in Sultan's case, a 3-0. So both of these, yeah, I know, both of these teams, I just feel it's like once they get that ball rolling, it's so hard to stop them. Like once they get that snowball, then it'll just escalate into the next game too, and then they're just gonna win the two games. So I feel that Revolution, like one player I do remember from EDL season 1 is BDN Zygon, also known as Potter, and I just kept remembering this jungler because I felt that Zygon was one of like the most proactive junglers, probably behind maybe like Ambition and maybe one or two others. But like other than that, I do think Zygon was one of the key reasons why Rev did so well during that first season of EDL. And like it really just comes down to how proactive these teams are, like who is able to get that ball rolling first. And I mean, I guess also I haven't really seen a lot of the other Flippa United players play in their specific positions. So I don't know, I just kind of like felt it in my bones, the Revolution. This was I flipped the coin. But, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. That is my take on series. So, do you guys have any specific players or roles do you think big decider?
I think it's going to be the bot lane. Like Sharp Potter, Ramsey. I think it's not going. Like they shouldn't be looking to just play the lane. They should be looking to roam. And like Adishon, like Adishon is a really good carry player. If we can play around him, he's going to deliver what you want from him. I don't really know Oddworks. I didn't really watch Rev's players a lot lately. I don't really know them other than Sharp Potter. But Otter is a really good player. Uh, like for the time that I played against him. So I think it's going to be the bot lane, especially the supports. It's gonna be depending on who affects the map better with their jungler, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with you. Zell, do you have anything you want to add?
No, I think I agree with Sultan there 100%. I think it's gonna be up to the supports and whether they can like make impact on the map and roam and just try to get their other lanes ahead and just snowball their games because these are two supports that are really good at just being able to like take a lead and just snowball with their laners and just
Oh,
you know
Yeah.
do their thing.
well,
Okay.
I will say this. I've seen Ramsey play support in solo queue, but I've never actually seen him play support in a team environment. He was doing really good in solo queue, and I think he's been playing support. Like it's not a recent role swap. He's been playing support since I think season 11 almost started. So I think he's used to the role, but I've never actually seen him in a 5v5 environment. If he adapted really good and he still holds on to his mechanics that it's coming from jungle and his macro play,
Mhm.
he was known for his like macro decisions too. Like when he really knew when to be where. So if he can keep those up, I think it's a really easy dub for the Flippo United.
So easy, they just win a whole extra game. Like
3-0.
Rev doesn't even
Yep.
know that they lost like two
Yo.
games, and then they play a third one and they lose that one too. Yeah, I
Yep.
think that's what's gonna.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay, and Clutch, did you have anything else you wanted to add?
Um, I mean, I'll just say personally, my matchup's gonna be jungle. I mean, a lot of the Zygon and Ominous aren't really talked about a lot because their team is all the players are somewhere else that's more like they're better. So they're not really talked about. Obviously, Flip United, it's like Adashan, Wonderworld are your players to carry, right? So I want to just shine some light on Ominous versus Zygon. Obviously, Zygon coming straight from EDL, making the move up, and I really want to see how he goes up against Ominous in the jungle because I think Ominous is a very solid gold jungler, very staple. So it's going to be a really good test for Zygon to see if he can hang with these gold junglers or what it's going to look like when he does go up against some solid gold junglers. Because Ominous, I think he's a solid jungler. Do I think he's the best in the league? Probably not, but it for sure is a really good test for Zygon. Because some of these junglers in this league, like Arth on Hawkthorn Esports, like you you need to get some experience before you go against some like this Arth and higher tier junglers. Otherwise you're just gonna get rolled. So I think this is a good experience for Zygon. I want to see how he does, and obviously I want to see how Mike does because I mean he is a staple gold jungler. But we really obviously it's week one, don't really know much about him, so I want to see how he does. That's gonna be my matchup to watch for this series.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I mean, overall, gonna be a really great matchup. Yeah, I do agree with some of the people in the Twitch chat saying would have been a really great streamed game, but less. There's only one me. Okay, but
Rip.
the next and final match of the week is our streamed match,
Okay.
which is Big Duck Entourage versus Abyssal Sapphire. So we were relatively split on this one again. I was really surprised because in EDL, on Friday, we were really, really like one-sided on a lot of the maps, except for Matt Pizza, who like hot taked everything.
That's his
And
thing though.
is ahead
That
of
is
the
his thing.
predictions.
So we are quite split on this. So we're gonna start backwards. So actually, we'll start with Sultan. Sultan, you said 2-1 BDE.
Mm. So, my reasoning was when you look at BD's roster, you have Psych, which is the prodigy silver player who went from silver 1 to P4 in a month. He has his own picks. He's really strong in top lane. He's just, in my opinion, one of the, he can play weak side, he can play strong side if you can put in resources. He has a bunch of different champions that he can play at a good level. And they don't really even need him to carry. They have Swag in the jungle, which he comes from EDL from last season. He made it to finals. He even played things like Tom Kent jungle, which was pretty impressive. I drafted him that.
I
He
drafted him
wanted it.
that.
He wanted it. He was a really good jungler. Like he knows what to do, and
You remember that
he
that game, yeah.
yep. Like, and I don't even think he needs to do that much with this team. You have Riv 60 in the ADC role. He's one of the best ADCs out there that you can find. He had a decent split in BOL. I think they're in playoffs right now. They made it until finals. In LHG, he's been just known to be a good player, and he's also performing really good. Even their subs are like really solid. Do you have I actually Rosalina? She's she can play ADC, she can play support, really good. Like if they need to sub someone out, they have like solid sub roster. When it comes to Abyssal though, I think I'm surprised that Golem is the sub because when I played against Abyssal and ZGG, Golem was like the bread and butter for that team. He was really strong. He has his own like I don't know if this would go for this is legal, but he plays like things like Darius mid, which is like really awkward, but it sometimes works. He has his own prio picks. When he gets them, he performs really good. They have um I don't really know much about the rest of the roster. They have Midlife, which has been around Gold Leagues for a good bit now. Abyssal, I would say they can maybe pull up a win, pull up a match from BDE, thinking that this roster is pretty new. But in the end, I think BD should be able to pull that 2-1 win.
Okay, yeah, I like where you're coming from. Like you said, BDE on paper already has a really strong roster coming into the season. So we'll look at the flip side of the coin. Zell, you said 2-1 for Abyssal.
Yeah. At the time, I didn't know exactly who was going to be playing for BDE this week. But I do know Sech, and like, as Sultan said, the prodigy of top lane, right? I think that would be that really swayed my vote towards Abyssal for this week was not knowing who was going to be playing outside of Sech and Riv. But I think Abyssal's support and jungle are really good. I've seen I mean, as Sultan said as well, Mew has been around the scene for quite a bit. And then I've seen Darkstar play, and that that's pretty good. And that's pretty much the I chose Abyssal for the 2-1 was just not knowing exactly who was gonna be playing for BDE in their game for this week outside of Sech, and just Sech is the carry, but I also think he needs a team around him to do what he does best,
Yeah, I
and not
mean,
knowing that team specifically was the deciding factor.
yeah, when I made these graphics, I also didn't exactly know who was playing on BDE. And
Hmm.
on Friday, I guessed for the Abyssal team, Abyssal Emerald. I was the only one, and they did not win. But
Yeah,
I feel
yeah,
like I'm an Abyssal fan now. I really like their logo has like a cool like scythe thing. I don't know, their logo is pretty cool.
yeah.
And
It's like a octopus that's
like
Reaper
a,
from
it's yeah,
Overwatch.
it's like a yeah, it's like Reaper and an octopus, like child. But anyways, I don't know, like Abyssal I feel has a lot of potential. I feel like they're just missing a few pieces. Like maybe they need
Hmm.
to just kind of figure out like one strategy, one pick, or one thing that will turn the tides and the seasons for Abyssal. Like they're probably like I'm just feeling a really big underdog story. Like they're
Oh,
starting
most
off like
definitely.
predicted to be a weaker team. They're probably weaker on paper, and then they just don't show in some other leagues. But I feel that like everyone's time will come, and I feel that Abyssals is it's on its way. So I'm trying to be like Matt Pizza, just believing in the underdog
Oh yeah.
for a little bit. So that is why I gave them my vote 2-1. Um, yeah, but last but not least, we do have Clutch who guessed 2-0 for Big Duck Entourage.
Yep. So, uh, Big Duck Entourage, obviously, like we've said a million times, it's the psych show. It's all him.
Yeah.
This guy's
Yeah.
insanely good. Coming straight from EDL, but he is P4. This guy's shown he can handle Gold League. One of those insane like franchise talents that you end up finding. And now on BDE, his team is okay. I mean, he doesn't have like the most solid, amazing team, but this just makes it even better for him to carry. It's the Psych Show. Every team's gonna know it is Psych 1v9, and it's gonna be his team supporting him. Now, Swag, I think, fits in really good with this team. Swag, from what we know, is a huge role player. Likes to play a lot of those supportive champions in the jungle. I'm not gonna say specifically what he likes to play. His champion pool is really good for Psych.
Kench.
Okay,
Tom
well, besides
Kench,
Tom
Tom
Kench.
Kench.
But he plays a lot of these supportive picks that will enable Psych. And if this team can silently sit there while Psych is just 1v9ing and they're able to support him, this team could be pretty good. I mean, Psych, I think, the best top laner in the league. I think he has the potential to 1v9 games. But is his team going to be able to hold on? Because obviously, BDE, it's just going to be the Camp Psych show. Get this guy ahead. Give this guy all the resources. He's going to be the faker of the team. Just let him do everything he can to get your team to win. But when that does happen, obviously the other side of the map's going to be traded. So BDE, they're going to need their bot side will have to absorb a lot of pressure. Are they going to be able to do that? I don't know, but we'll see about that. And for Abyssal, I think this top lane matchup is a bit of a mismatch. It's Dead Shark against Psych. Now, I'm not saying Dead Shark is bad, but Psych is the best top laner in the league, and he's going up against someone who I'd say is probably in the middle, a little bit average. A top laner, and it just seems to me like Psych's just gonna run over this guy, just because of how good Psych is and the big gap of top laners. However, I think Darkstar and their mid laner are very good on the side of Abyssal Sapphire. I think these guys can carry games. I think Abyssal has a very solid roster across the board. But I haven't seen many of these players actually play, and I haven't seen them play together. So I put BDE 2-0. I said, you know what? It's going to be the Psych show this week. It's on stream. I want to see Psych 1v9. I want to see this guy go for some big plays. Pull out the Kale, pull out the Mordekaiser, go for those hyper carries, and I'm for sure going to be excited for this matchup.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, this is our streamed match of the week, so 8 Eastern, tune in. You're gonna see some really great banger series played
Top
out.
cap.
Yeah.
Top
The
cap.
prodigy at work.
Yeah, so I mean, it'll be a really great series, and that is all of the predictions we have for today. We do like to end off with a final question. So EDL, we did do the one question: who do we think is going to just win the whole league? I kind of feel like asking that question again. Who do you guys think
we have
will win?
winning the whole league and then the Underdog Team also?
Yeah,
Are we
yeah,
doing
yeah,
both those? Okay. Who wants to go first? I don't care.
I'll
We'll do
go.
who's going to win the league first. We'll do who's going to win the
Okay.
league first.
I think with with the rotations that they have, if they're in a bad spot, even in the playoffs, they even have Casino, Rar's savior for playoffs, the best of 5 god. So, and they have Anderson Cooper. Flippa, even if they're down bad, they can always win. So, even if they're down in series, you cannot count the subs out. You cannot count even the players in the starting roster out. So, they should be able to win. I'm putting my faith in them.
Okay, Sultan. Okay. Off your point, I do think that Flippa does have a talented roster, but just coming in from excellency, like I have to pick Hawk. I do think Hawthorne is going to just be a strong team throughout the whole season, and like at a gold level of play, even if people do know what Hawthorne's like biggest strategy are, I don't know if other teams will be able to adapt and take down just Hawthorne. Because if they've made it this far, like, I'm pretty sure Hawthorne has many plans. Plan B, Plan C, they just know what they want to do and how they want to win. So, I don't know, seems like the cliche answer, but I'm gonna have to say Hawthorne.
I would have to agree there with Hawthorne. I think these guys are actually insane. Just seeing them in excellency and just other leagues and just seeing these players play together is just is something else. And I think these guys, if a team cannot exploit their weaknesses and just stop them from doing what they do best, I actually think they just take over the league for sure.
Yeah, I But yeah, Clutch, your take?
All right, my mic died. Hold on. All right, so this is what's gonna end up happening. Okay, guys. What's gonna happen is VBU Krypton's gonna win it all. Now you're gonna stay biased because I own the org, little bit.
True,
Okay,
true, so
but
much bias. This guy just wants
you
the chip for
also
himself.
you also forget this is double elimination. Okay, this is a double elimination bracket. So what's gonna end up happening is Krypton is gonna go against Flippa United in the second round of the winners bracket. They're gonna lose. They're gonna go to the losers bracket, and they're gonna be the RNG. They're gonna win through losers bracket. They're gonna go to the finals. They're gonna beat Flippa United, and it's gonna be the RNG story. Okay, that's what's gonna end up happening. I think VBU Krypton has the potential to be a very good team. However, the only problem is, they lose one game, it might be GG. So that's all I'm saying. I'm just gonna stop it right there. All right. Might be GG if they lose, but I think Flippa United's very strong. I think obviously the top 3 favorites would be Flippa United, Krypton, and Hawthorne. I think it's very clear that one of those 3 teams is most likely going to win.
Oh yeah.
But maybe, these B tier teams or next tier teams like Hyperion and what's the Revolution, maybe they take some games. Obviously losers bracket, double elimination, it creates some storylines for the miracle run. So maybe that will end up happening here. But yeah, I think VBU Krypton, I'm just gonna have to pick them because bias. I think they've got a good shot at winning.
I can't say VBU. VBU never makes it past quarters.
That's true. That's true. Hot take.
Last VBU team I was on, we got 3 owed instances. So what can I say?
curse.
It's you make your way around VBU. So the last hot take we have from everybody is the Underdog Team. So obviously my pick for the Underdog Team is Whistle Sapphire. I do think that they're starting off the season a little bit, in a weaker spot than teams. They are probably gonna, I just think that other teams are probably gonna start underestimating. And that's when Abyssal Sapphire will shine. It's like the Chicago Dragon story from season 1. I ranked them 6th twice in a row. And then they were like, no, we are way better than 6th. And then they were like, they were kind of favored to win the league almost by the end of the season. That's Abyssal. That's what my take is.
Yeah. I think I would have to agree. It's really I'm really stuck between Abyssal and Revolution. I think both of these rosters have what it takes to actually take over the Dominator, whoever that may be. But I think I would have to give the edge to Abyssal. I think they have a little bit more of a edge when it comes to team play. And so that would be my underdog story of the split would be Abyssal for sure.
Yeah, and Sultan?
I think this might be a little really hot take, but I will take my chances. I think if they can make playoffs, I'll take Monkeys Rising.
Oh god.
Then this
That
is
was like, what?
yeah. Maybe
gonna lose all your
Zell doesn't
chips.
believe in him. Maybe Zell doesn't believe in himself. But I think maybe these guys can live up to what people were expecting from what they did in Silver, because Chinese Spy subbed in for a few Argon scrims, a gold team that I was playing in, and he played pretty solid. And Bird Nurse, I didn't really see too much from him, but Basting the second, he has it in his name. He is Basting's successor.
That's
He is
son.
going to be the next. He is going to be the next good top laner coming out of Silver. Just destroying these gold top laners. Maybe he's gonna have some problem going against Psych, but Psych was once Silver and Basing is now Silver. We all been there. So why cannot he beat him? I think they have. If it's going to be a underdog team, I'll take my chances with Monkeys and putting my faith in Zell a little bit. I think he's better than what most people think from him.
That's all I gotta say about that one.
Okay. PDA, oh my goodness. Alright, and Clutch, your underdog
Yep.
team.
Underdog team coming in. All right. It's going to be Big Duck Entourage. It's going to be my boy Psych in the top lane. This guy, He's going to be a unit in the playoffs, okay? This team's going to sneak in as the 6th seed. They're going to be that last team in the playoffs, all right? They're going to be in the losers bracket. I don't know who they're going to play, but boom, team loses, they come down. They're like, oh, Big Duck Entourage, all right? Easy win, 6th seed. Boom, Psych comes in, dude pulls out Kale, game 1, pentakill, smurfing on that team. Game 2, gets the Mordekaiser, 2-0, they're moving on, all right? Duck Entourage, they are my underdog team. If my boy Swag Money Boy is in the jungle with Psych, underrated duo. I think this is actually an insane duo. Their champ pools and the way they play the game complement each other so well on this team. This isn't even counting whoever else is on the roster, because low-key, I have no clue. All right, so that's why I'm only talking about
Low-key,
these two.
I have no
Okay.
clue.
I have no clue. I don't think anyone does here, buddy.
Like, that's why I'm talking about those two, because those are the only ones I know. Otherwise, I talk about the rest of the team. But I think Big Duck Entourage has the potential with Psych to go pretty far in this tournament. Now, obviously, I don't think they can win it all. Maybe they can. Maybe Psych just like decides to smurf. But it's going to be really hard for them to win it all. But however, I do think that they could make a splash in the playoffs. I think if they're able to get to the second round, I think that's big for them. That's a success, because with this roster compared to some of the other teams, they are a bit lacking. But yeah, Psych, my boy, I think he's going to do great for this team. Obviously, stream match today. We'll see if I'm right or wrong. Now watch Psych just get absolutely gapped, and then I just look like an idiot. But
then we're all gonna be like, Clutch, hello.
I think we'll all look like he's the prodigy, and if the prodigy gets diffed, then we're all gonna look like it's gonna look rigged.
But VDE underdog team.
Yeah, I mean, other than that, that is kind of all the time we have today. We gotta go get the stream set up for the stream match tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, BDE versus Abyssal Sapphire. Make sure you guys show up, tune in, and I think it'll be a really great series to watch. It won't be Cole and Kobe casting. We will have Packapal and Colonel on the caster desk tonight, so make sure you guys tune in. Yeah, true. It'll be a really great series, so make sure you guys tune in for that, and hopefully we'll see you guys then.